Hello everyone and welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you for stopping by. We are back and finally we got the synopsis for the 40 stories that we'll be getting in the long-awaited book Return of the Jedi from a Certain Point of View. Now, just like the two that came before, all 40 of these stories sound incredible, but today I'm only talking about the handful that I'm really excited for. However, if you'd want my opinions on the remaining stories, I could release them in different batches, so just let me know. But for now, let's take a look at some of the stories chosen. First up is Reputation by Tara Sim, only because I feel that this story is going to be the one we all want, the final moments of Boba before falling into the Sarlacc. I've kept you alive this long, Boba thought with a hint of pride, only fitting I should see the end. It was Solo's own fault, really. He had been Jabba's top smuggler for years, only to throw it all away with a cargo of Kessel spice. It didn't matter how skilled or slippery Solo could be. If you owed Jabba money, you paid him with either credits or your life. I really want to see how this plays out. We all know he escapes, we saw it in the Book of Boba Fett, but I want to know what was going through his head in the moments that followed falling into the Sarlacc. It's bound to be creepy and weird. Next up, we're continuing with the theme of the Sarlacc with My Mouth Never Closes by Charles Jane Anders. And let me tell you, this description is weird. People, stop tossing each other into my mouth. I'm serious, I've tried letting you know every way I can, and you still keep doing it. Every once in a while, one of these flying machines soars over me, full of these little spindly creatures with their limbs flapping around in the air. I always hope they're here to make friends, but then their bodies just plummet into my mouth without even trying to communicate. I've never actually had a friend before. My people just drift alone among the stars until we find a place to burrow, as it happens, but since I've been here, I've seen all these tiny beings living together, and I kind of like how it looks. Now, Empire Strikes Back, from a certain point of view, did a great job of telling all of the sad, lonely stories, so don't try to make me feel bad for the Sarlacc. That thing is a monster and we all know it. Yet I'm still intrigued by the idea. I want to know what is going through the Sarlacc's mind, seeing people living together and wondering what that's like. It's bound to be interesting. The next one, however, has my imagination in a chokehold, and that's The Light That Falls by Akimi Dawn Bowman. Something was wrong. Bright Eyes lifted her head from the bog, and the fin at her back cut through the surface like a row of jagged spikes. They were the same mottled blue-gray as the scales across her body. Her deep yellow eyes peered through the mist, searching for a hint of movement. Something that might explain the unusual silence that had fallen over Dagobah. Now this gives me big Heir to the Empire vibes, in the same way that Luke felt alone and how everything was so quiet when he came back to visit Dagobah. It's going to have such an eerie tone, and I'm very excited, especially since it's coming from this weird bog creature, which I'm pretty sure they're describing as the one that swallowed R2 in Empire Strikes Back. So I'm definitely interested in knowing how life on Dagobah went on after Yoda's passing. Next, we've got one story that I'm very excited for, and that's The Buy-In by Suzanne Walker. The Y-Wing handles like a dream under Nora Wexley's touch, light and agile with the vast expanse of space pressing in around the cockpit. There's no comparison with the stalwart yet bulky freighter she's piloted for the Alliance these last 3 years, the Violet. Though out of habit, she still compensates for all its little quirks. She jerks a bit too hard on the Y-Wing's controls in case they stick like the Violet's, pounds the console needlessly when she fires up the targeting computer, and for a moment Nora revels in the joy of flight. The ease with which she weaves into formation alongside a smattering of other fighters, nothing but her, the rush, and the stars. Then she pulls the trigger, and the moment's gone. I've known Nora Wexley since I first read the Aftermath trilogy, and I know she has horrendous nightmares and PTSD from the Battle of Endor, flying out of the reactor core as fire grew up behind her. It was terrifying, and I want to know more about this story, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it happen in real time as you read this story. The next one might be the most unique of all, Akbar by Jarrett J. Krasokska, and apparently it's a full-on comic. Now, I don't know how this is going to read in the audiobook, but this is definitely going to make me buy a physical copy. Like I wasn't going to already, though. I imagine this is about the route to the Death Star 2, or everything leading up to that moment. Seeing that it's a comic is definitely awesome, and I'm very interested to see what it looks like and how it works out between the rest of the pages. Moving right along, we've got The Emperor's Red Guards by Gloria Chow. Guards, leave us. I never questioned Emperor Palpatine's orders, though a part of me felt uneasy about leaving him. It wasn't because I didn't think he could take care of himself. Of course he could. It was more that I felt better when he, the one around whom my existence revolved, was in my sights. And maybe I felt the most useful then too, but it wasn't about me. Now, I'm a big fan of the Royal Guards and Praetorian Guards, so this is something that I think will hold a lot of interest to me, seeing what went through their minds as they just stood back leaving Emperor, Vader, and Luke all alone. I'm going a little out of order with this next one, but because I promised someone I'd save the favorite for last. But this one just sounds so good. Return of the Wills by Tom Engelberger. Seeking balance and clarity, I have hidden myself away from all others as I write another entry in the immortal Journal of the Wills. The complexity of this galaxy-shaking moment requires my complete focus without even a fear of interruption. May the Force be with me as I... knock knock. What? I asked not to be disturbed. The Wills are just a really cool concept in Star Wars, and honestly, right after Return of the Jedi ends, I wanted to know how everything was recorded. And now I have this perfect story to answer those questions, as this sets up the beginning of the New Republic and the sequel trilogy. But who is writing this? Is it actually the Wills? And the last story that I have that I will be reading first comes from the one and only Adam Lance Garcia, and it's an unexpected one, The Veteran. Dexter Jettster thought of the boy he had met on Lenara, and all that the boy would never see. He thought of the warrior the boy had become, and the war that had been lost. The war Dexter Jettster had helped start. I'm honestly just so excited to see a story about Dexter Jettster set during Return of the Jedi. It just kind of blows my mind. But naturally, this is going to be sad. If you haven't read Padawan by Kiersten White, then I highly recommend it before reading this story, as the boy on Lenara that Dexter is referring to is of course Obi-Wan. And he sent him to Kamino, so I'm guessing he's going to be feeling a lot of guilt around the whole thing. It's going to be sad, but I am so interested. I've talked with Adam about this project, and I promised that it would be the first story that I read once I got my copy, and yeah, I will not be disappointed at all. Overall though, the stories in this book just sound perfect. I don't know what it is, but the From a Certain Point of View books are just amazing, and even from this select list, I'm still missing some perfect stories. So if you want to hear about the rest, let me know, and let me know which stories you're looking forward to the most. Check out Del Rey Star Wars on Twitter for a full list of the 40 stories that will be in this book, and you can pick up your own copy when they go on sale August 29th. But let us know, are you going to be picking up Return of the Jedi From a Certain Point of View, and which story will you be reading first? Let us know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you to everyone who stuck around to this point in the video, and we hope to see you again very soon.